I think we have a bigger lemon in the house than my camera. Or is it, though? Well, stick around and find out.
300 megahertz watch, I'm dumb.
The quad-core 300 megahertz.
That would have been funny. On-camera vent test. Snap!
Snap! All the keys fall on the floor. All the keys fall on the floor.
Like 300 megahertz watch, I'm dumb.
The quad-core 300 megahertz. Knowing my luck, realistically speaking, it'll probably be 1.2 gigahertz, but you never know until you unbox it. Anyways, here we are with the lovely, rather strange, Packard Bell tablet. Like, I've never seen a Packard Bell product in America for, like, years. Like, it makes...
Last time they really had any popularity was in, like, PC business, like, back in, like...
The 90s.
90s, yeah.
I mean, hell, that Legend 108 CD Supreme is one of the ones. Anyway, I don't know, his mic is coming in and out. Anyway, before we get started, realistically speaking, I'd like to guest star TheSkyeLord and Rodoko, or Rodoko, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce your username. I'm sorry for butchering the pronunciation, but... There you go. Sorry, I butchered the pronunciation of your username, so... Anyway, so here it is, the obscure thing, probably made in China, of course, because where else? And we got a 2-in-1 tablet / notebook. The tablet, that's a notebook. The power of a notebook with the convenience of a tablet. Well, if only the Microsoft Pro or Surface Pro would be more popular and lower the price, maybe it might be, maybe it might not convince so many of these cheap Chinese companies to actually come up with some kind of a creative idea that'll compete with them actually running some decent applications. You know what I mean? Anyway.
And on top of that, a tablet on Windows is like that good, anyways. So
yeah, it is what it is, though. They yeah. So cutting this little thing on the side. Hopefully, I can get it open. Lovely. Oops! I ripped the box. Well, who's gonna care anyway?
Also, that thing can be known as a hybrid computer because it has a laptop part plus a tablet part and it detaches.
That just makes you wonder how they pull it off here with Android Nougat, which, I mean, I'll applaud them for having at least some kind of recent version of Android, because, hell, half the tablets they sell at the store I bought this from are still running KitKat, so...
Oh, God.
I'm not kidding. They're still selling, like, Samsung, like, kids tablets, because that's all they had in stock.
Oh, God.
Anyway, when we open the box, we have a piece of paper that says... Align the tablet and the keyboard, then slide the tablet into the dock as shown below. I'll get this up here so you can see this. The tablet will automatically recognize the keyboard when docked properly. Actually, it's actually in proper English. I'm really surprised.
So it's not that bad then.
Yet. Okay, so pulling this out, we initially have, what do we got? The tablet itself. Well, we'll come back to that. Let's set that there real quickly. What's we got for paperwork? Yeah, we got a user guide. It's one of these really cheap ones that are just foldable and they're not actually stapled together. I really hate when they do that. Yeah, I'm really surprised. At least what I'm reading so far is actually in proper English. I'm really surprised.
Nice.
That is impressive. Or at least whoever packaged this one actually managed to translate the Chinese properly.
And not like many other products that
okay,
like,
so here's your...
Or something, because they do use a mix between Chinese and English. And put the,
it's not focusing,
crazy when making the phrase or any other sentence. So...
Okay, so this is really surprising. In the specifications, it says 64-bit Intel quad-core processor.
What is it running, like a Bay Trail processor or something like that?
I'm really not sure. I'll have to get CPU-Z on that one and actually see, because that's actually really interesting. Not that they haven't done Android devices with Intel processors before.
If I remember correctly, there was a Motorola phone that had an Intel processor inside.
There's micro USB cable, no surprise. A hardwired wall adapter with the really itty-bitty teeny-tiny DC plug on it. Ugh. But it makes sense because, of course, this has a huge battery in it, so they got to charge it off the DC instead of just USB. And here is the keyboard, which it so comes with. I mean, really, I'm surprised for $80, at least at the sales price I got it at. It comes with the keyboard. That's really interesting. And at first glance, the touchpad does not move, although that kind of makes sense. Not too bad of plastic. I mean,
Jordan starts slapping it to make sure how breakable.
I wasn't sure if it was metal or if it was just high quality plastic. I'm really not sure. I think it might be metal. God forbid. I mean, that's really interesting if it is.
Or scratching your fingernail, that'll also determine what it is.
I'm really not sure. It's like it feels like it's metal, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's not bending. I mean, here here we go. Here we go. We'll do a live on camera bend test. Yeah, it's not bending. God, that thing must be made of metal or something.
Maybe they'll have some kind of metal plastic just like the keyboards.
Hang on, what were we gonna say, Alex?
That would have been funny. On camera bend test. Snap.
Snap. All the keys fall on the floor. All the keys fall on the floor. Well, that was $80 well spent. Wait, who knows? The tablet might actually be pretty decent, or it could be a piece of crap. I guess we'll find out. I don't know. I'm opening up the plastic now off camera. Sorry, I have to kind of focus on this one. It's a 10-inch tablet we're looking at, so I kind of have to do it with two hands. So first impressions of the tablet with the already pre-applied screen protector, which has got some air bubbles in it. It's probably just for shipping purposes. It's a very simplistic design. Nice black, not really soft touch plastic. It's more hard, but it's not cheap feeling in the way that you would think it'd be cheap feeling, like those really cheapo, like Vivitar or freaking Mitsuba camcorders. Although it's got labels like a Chinese tablet, and especially every single little feature has to be labeled. That's how you know. But it is a 32 gig, so that's how they advertised it. Designed by Southern Telecom, made in China. Model PB1009. So, what was the instructions for the keyboard dock? Okay, so line the tablet and the keyboard and slide it into the dock as shown. And indeed, it has sort of like a Microsoft Surface style connector on the bottom. I'm assuming that it also provides maybe power. I'm not sure. I don't think it would. But anyway, we'll go ahead and plop that there and pop it on. Oh, it's magnetic. Holy, man, we're high tech. It's actually magnetic. Wow, I mean, I'm surprised. Some kind of quality. Alright, well, there we go. It's on the dock. I suppose I'll take the screen protector off on a separate clip. We're going to go ahead and turn it on now before the camera dies. Power button in the upper left. Packard Bell, powered by Android. Holy hell, that Android logo looks a little pixelated. Zooming in on the screen. This is obviously going to be a TFT LCD. Not sure if it's IPS or not. I don't think the box actually said IPS on the display. Oh, it does. Okay. IPS touchscreen display. Okay. I just wasn't sure. Usually some of these really cheap devices, they have like the freaking really awful TN panels that have like no IPS on it. So you can never really be too sure. Looking at the keyboard, since I might as well do that, that's one of the main features of this tablet. We have a back key, home, search, probably default browser, email, if not messaging client, menu key, settings, brightness, screenshot button, playback controls, volume controls, and a screen off button. And it looks like it has Control, Function, Alt, Command. Interesting. And really interestingly is that there's a .com button on the keyboard. Very strange. Anyway, we are at the setup screen, and from first impressions, from looking a couple feet away from the screen, it looks pretty good. I will not deny that. It really looks good. And yes, the touchpad does work. I get a mouse cursor, so that's nice. Well, that's nothing new for Android. If you do plug in a mouse, you do actually get to have a mouse cursor. That depends on the device you use it on, of course, but most things. So we're going to set up as new, because I don't want to restore anything from something else. Alright, we do want to connect to the Wi-Fi. And I'm going to give this keyboard a test. Let me see if it feels cheap or not. There's actually a surprising amount of key travel to it. It's not like one of those butterfly mechanisms. It actually has a surprising amount of key travel to it. So I'm really surprised. That actually wouldn't be too bad to type on. Although, that's subject to future change if it ever really does change. I mean, I haven't really typed on it yet. I'll need to get Microsoft Word on this or something. And actually try typing something serious and seeing if I can actually do it on this. They've modified the setup text a little bit because usually it would just say this may take a minute or two, but since it's on the checking network screen, it does say adding a few finishing touches. This may take a minute or two. So that's definitely something they've added. Not for the bad, though. Software update, checking for updates. Be surprised if there is any. There might actually be. Maybe like a security update or something.
Most Chinese manufacturers sometimes doesn't include updates to their devices. It's very, very hard to come to an update on a Chinese.
Yeah, you can say that again. Believe me, the amount of devices I have that don't get software updates that are actually not only name brand, but also the cheap ones, you know. That's the one reason why I don't particularly like Android, is because you don't get all that convenience of having at least some kind of security updates.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back after I type in my Google password.
It's the same stuff.
Alright,
Basically.
so I got my password in. Checking info. What does the box say about the cameras, or what kind of megapixel they are? It does not say. My guess is they're probably going to be really cheap 2 megapixel sensors, knowing my luck.
Alright, I'm back.
A lot of cameras even crappier. It's just like a pinhole kind of camera. That's it.
Oh, these also look like pinholes too. Yours is not the only one. God, they're absolutely tiny sensors. Like, I don't even know if I get the camera to focus on them. Probably not because the screen's so damn bright, but... maybe... Yeah. It just barely does it, except it's trying to focus on something else and it keeps going fuzzy, but hopefully that gives you enough of a look. Okay. Oh god, it's just like freaking Windows. Just a sec. It's like Windows when it's on Windows updates and it says please wait. Let's do a pin for my thing. Do not make me put that in every time I turn it on. That would be really nice. Yeah, I'm surprised by the keyboard. It really doesn't feel half bad. I think I'll set everything up later. I just want to get to the home screen. Alright, and here we are at the home screen. It does not have the same launcher as advertised, but it does have the same wallpaper. That's quite interesting, because usually you would think that an Android device running Nougat or later by this point would have the swipe up style app tray, but nope, this one has the older style of the app tray button. Not that I'm complaining though, I'll just install Nova Launcher anyway. Although I might not, actually. This looks to be like a stock launcher of some kind. So, okay. So what does it come with out of the box? It comes with YouTube Kids. Comes with a file manager. Nice. It looks like all the stock Google apps. And one thing that's nice is they don't bundle Allo and Duo with this tablet. I think that's some of the higher end devices do, and especially the newer ones, they bundle Allo and Duo and not Hangouts, but this one actually has Hangouts out of the box. I don't know if that's really a deal breaker, but it's not really a deal breaker to me, because I don't use Allo or Duo anyway. It's kind of getting a little sluggish now that it's doing automatic updates. So let's go into the settings, and let's see what version of Android this thing's running. It said 7.0 on the box. Okay, we got Android 7.0 with the August 5th, 2017 security patch. So that's actually a little bit better than I thought. I thought it was going to have like a really old security patch on it, considering how old Nougat is at this point. But no, that's actually not too bad. Let's see, do these function keys work?
At least my phone does have the September security update, so that's strange.
That's why I hate Android, is because it's so inconsistent. But I don't know. I guess that's just how it is. Okay. So what are we doing?
It's kind of inconsistent. It just depends on Google and on the manufacturer.
Sadly, It has to go between multiple different things. Not to mention a carrier. Not to mention the carrier, because the carrier can have an influence on that. Yeah.
My friend had slightly bad experiences with his Galaxy S6 being a Verizon version.
Oh my god.
An Android 7.0 release. I remember he had to wait, I think it was 3 or 4 months after AT&T phones got it. I was like, that's so stupid.
Hey, at least he didn't own.
Screw off and not put your stuff on the phone and just leave it alone.
Hey, at least he didn't own an S7, because funniest thing, the S6 got the Android 7.0 update on Verizon before the S7. The S6 got it before the S7 on Verizon, which is the funniest thing.
I don't remember what update it was. All I know is that he said he had to wait so much longer after AT&T phones. It might have been Android 7.0.
Probably was. Okay, so it looks like all the apps built in have to update. It does have 2-finger scrolling, although it's not great, but at least it has it. So, not too bad, not too bad.
Hey.
Alright, well...
I was expecting some really interesting stuff out of this tablet, but actually it doesn't sound half bad.
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. We have yet to install CPU-Z. We have yet to install CPU-Z, so we'll find out. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna go install CPU-Z right now.
Wait, Jordan, you know how much a system RAM it has, or physical RAM?
1 gig.
Oh.
So that's probably contributing to the fact it's kind of slow. It hasn't locked up yet, though, so...
slow, yeah.
Especially considering the fact it mentioned a 64-bit CPU, so I'm like, okay.
Oh my god.
Don't tell me you're running Android 64-bit on 1 gig of RAM.
1 gig of RAM and a 64-bit CPU, that will be so slow. At least 64-bit operating system do require at least 4 gigs or 2 gigs.
I remember when I was on Amazon and I found a tablet that had 8-core CPU for just over $100, 10-inch. Oh god, the Play Store crashed, probably because it was updating. That would be the only reason why the Play Store would crash, would be because it's updating. CPU-Z hasn't started downloading yet, but I think that's just because it's doing other system stuff. Now it started downloading. There it goes. They probably had to update the Play Store first, which makes sense. Okay. Any second now, it should be on the home screen. And then we'll wrap this video up, and then we'll move on with our lives. Installing CPU-Z. Alright. I'm going to turn screen rotation off. There's no point in having it on while I got it on the keyboard dock. And also I know that some of these really cheap ones... Oh god, that was some lag. Some really cheap tablets, they don't even include Bluetooth.
What?
That was way back in the day, though. They didn't include Bluetooth. I remember one of my friend's tablets that didn't have Bluetooth, but it was running like Android 4.4.4 or something or another. Alright, what does CPU-Z say? It actually opened quicker than I thought. What does it say? Come on, quit going out of focus. And it crashed. Nice. Oh, this is just great. Here we go.
To an operating system to another is not that easy.
Okay, CPU load is at 88%. That's just nice. Whatever they were saying about having Intel CPU, man, they were full of shit, because this is an ARM CPU. It's got a PowerVR Rogue GE8300 GPU.
Maybe I believe that the processor it uses is maybe an all-winner, because all-winners do have the PowerVR built into them, if I remember correctly.
Maybe. Yep, I was correct. 1 gigabyte of RAM.
Oh god.
It's only got 435 megabytes free. So roughly 45% free RAM. It does have 32 gigs of storage. It's got 24 gigs free out of the 24.5 that it has available to it. And which probably explains a lot. So far, I mean, it's not a piece of junk. It's cheap, but it's not a complete piece of... Going out of focus, camera. Stop it. See, this is why I don't use my camera. It's because this thing goes out of focus when I look away from it. Anyway. But really, I was expecting it to be a whole lot less good. Like, God damn it, camera, stop going out of focus. Come on, focus on my hand. See, this camera is a piece of crap. It really is. Anyway, it's a Nikon S9300, so I don't know. But no, really, it's actually kind of surpassed my expectations, because the display's actually half decent, the keyboard's pretty decent. I've yet to test the speakers, the cameras, and the performance. Well, we already know that. Some nice built-in wallpapers, actually. I will take some of these. I mean, they're hideously low res, but they look nice. The screen itself's only 1280 by 800, so I guess what do you expect? It's only 160 pixels per inch, so that's just slightly better than a standard PC display at like 92 pixels per inch or something like that.
Oh god.
I really like this one, though. I'm going to set that one. That looks really quite nice. Both home screen and lock screen, please. But I do congratulate them. Stock Android 7.0. I will congratulate them on that. They didn't try to put some stupid user interface on top of it, so thumbs up to Southern. Okay, so after I charged my camera at least enough to make a conclusion to this video epic, at least I think that's a video epic, what are my first impressions of the Packard Bell PB1009X? Well, for starters, I'm really impressed for $80 and what they're able to pull off. I know these things are sold a little bit more expensive when they were new, of course, but honestly speaking, you get what you pay for. So one thing I've noticed is that there's nothing like keeping the screen from turning off or on when you close it or open it. So that's one thing that I've noticed. Not really a deal breaker, but it's definitely something I've noticed. And that screen off button doesn't actually turn the screen on. That's kind of interesting. It doesn't look like any of them do. Yeah. So you do need to have the screen on in order to actually use those keys. So, I mean, that's really no surprise. I mean, I would expect that sort of thing. So, in terms of the keyboard, I really am surprised by how decent it types. No, it's no Model M. No, is it going to blow the socks off people? No, far from it. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The touchpad is awful. What do you expect for something that's a physically non-moving touchpad? I mean, really, it's just not great at all. It tries to simulate buttons, and it doesn't do a very good job. So, I mean, that's no surprise. I mean, it does work, but it's not what you would expect it to be. It's really not. I mean, it might just be because of the surface I'm using it on. It's kind of wibbly-wobbly. Another thing that's really not that great is the fact that a lot of apps for Android are just really not tablet-friendly, and they run the phone version being stretched, because as you can see, the Facebook Messenger still thinks that it's a phone just with a really wide screen. So, I mean, that's kind of the problem with these Android tablets in particular. It's nothing new. But one thing I will say, though, is that the performance, now that I've gotten it set up, isn't the worst. Obviously, apps are going to relaunch when they're out of memory. What do you expect? It's just not going to be great. It's just not going to multitask like a device that has more physical RAM, because it's only got that 1 gigabyte. In fact, it's actually kind of locked up there trying to recover Facebook. So Facebook's just freaking crap. I'm not really surprised to see that that's the case. Facebook just sucks. So, I mean, I'm not even going to bother waiting for that to reload itself, even though it's going to sit there and do that anyway. But no, the keyboard's surprisingly nice to type on. I don't have Microsoft Word currently set up, so I can't really demonstrate that. It's only playing out of the left speaker for some reason. I don't know if that's my particular unit or if that's just how it is. I might call the distributor of which I bought this from at some point, and I'll ask him about it. I might say, hey, can I exchange this for another unit if you have any extras, because my right speaker doesn't appear to be working, and I'm not sure if it's just a design defect or what. And I have kept my receipt, and I have kept all the packing material and everything, so if I need to do that, I will. And before I go, I will talk about the joke that is the cameras, because they are bloody awful, as you would expect. The rear camera, not so much, but the front camera is just terrible. But it is what you would expect for a tablet at this cheap price point. I mean, obviously. So, it is what you get. So, I mean, it's really not too bad. And the screen's quite nice, too. nice viewing angles, decent brightness, and if you look at it up close, obviously you're going to see pixels. It's one of those 1280 by 800 displays, so of course you're going to see pixels. But really, you're not going to get a Retina display for under $100, unless, of course, somebody's really trying to sell you on something. But anyway, obviously I shouldn't say that because my Windows tablet has a 1920 by 1200 display, and I didn't pay $100 for this tablet, and this thing has a full HD display, so I guess I shouldn't say that. But whatever. That's a completely different device for a completely different video. But honestly, what do I think about this? Well, honestly, I think it's not too bad for the money. You could do a whole lot worse. Really, you could. And considering the fact that this includes this keyboard, which is somewhat decent for what you get, and you do even get a screenshot button, which is quite handy too. I mean, for what you get, I think it's a pretty decent value. Is it great? Probably not. For most people, it'll be fine. They just want to scroll through their Facebook or do a video call with somebody or type up something in Microsoft Word, browse the web, watch YouTube, Netflix, check their email. It's fine for that. It'll do the job. It's not useless. It's just there's some things that were cut in, obviously keeping the price down, that you'll notice, especially the RAM limitation. That is the biggest problem. That's why I initially didn't buy it at first, but really when you see those shortcomings and you kind of lower your expectations a little bit, you get a device that's actually decently usable. I mean, it's not going to be an iPad in terms of performance, especially an iPad Pro with an A10X Fusion in it, but you can open up YouTube and watch a video and type up your documents, type up your emails, watch some other forms of content, browse the web. So, I mean, it has its uses. And, whoops, sorry, I bumped the tripod. Is it going to be particularly great at everything? No, of course not. But I have yet to test it with a bunch of things, so we'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to try out some emulators on this. I'm going to try out, for one thing, PlayStation 1. So that's definitely one thing I'm going to get. Actually, before I go, I want to show you something that's really neat. And that is this button that appears down here on the little navigation bar. And it has a little condense icon on it. When you press that, it does exactly what you would think it would do. And it condenses the window or the app into a window. And then you can manipulate it just as if it was a window. And obviously you got to deal with the hideously awful touchpad. However, you don't need to have the touchpad in order to be able to manipulate windows. You can actually just use the touchscreen as well. Granted, the controls are kind of finicky, but it is doable. So you can obviously do it that way. Or, of course, you can just put it back into full screen and, Bob your uncle. So there we go. The Packard Bell PB1009X. Is it a gimmick? Yes, probably. Especially at the price tag it's being sold at right now. But it's not totally useless. It's definitely worth the money, I think. I mean, it's not for everybody, but for the people who do think it's pretty neat, I'd say the only thing you're going to be losing is under $100. Really, that's it. I mean, if you're expecting something higher quality, go for an iPad Pro with a type cover. Really, or Surface Pro. Really. So, anyway, as the camera goes out of focus, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video now, so I appreciate you all taking the time to watch, and I will see you all in the next video.